Hello listeners, and welcome to this week's recording of Boomerang. Team 3 is here. My name is Jim, and your other readers are...
Therine,
Nan,
Ray.
Andrew's our engineer tonight, and he'll be doing the recording, and Ray will be doing the copying and distribution. The news this week is taken with permission from the West Lothian Courier, dated Thursday the 10th of July, and we are recording this on the 10th of July. And any anecdotes that we might have, apart from Ray's wonderful stuff, have been taken from the Reader's Digest, again with their permission. And as usual, the recording this week has been divided into 4 sections, and can I remind you right from the start that when you have listened to the whole recording, please post your wallet back to us from a post box and not the post office. So we will start the first section with some general news.
Victoria humbled by honour from the King. A mum of 4 from Bathgate is incredibly humbled after it was revealed she's being awarded an MBE in King Charles's birthday honours list in recognition of her service to the people of West Lothian. Victoria Dunnett is the former chair of the Boghall Drop-In Centre, a grassroots charity dedicated to supporting individuals and families across the local authority area. The Boghall Drop-In Centre has become a cornerstone of the local community, particularly during the festive period. Its Christmas programme includes free meals, Santa's Grotto experience, pensioners' parties, and other inclusive events aimed at bringing joy and support to those who need it most. The charity's services are designed to be free wherever possible, ensuring that no one is left behind. During the COVID pandemic, Victoria, along with Kelly Drummond, Heather McCormick and Graham Cavan, worked tirelessly to prevent hardship in the local community, often putting in 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, for 6 months to deliver essential support. Victoria's leadership, compassion and relentless commitments have been central to the success of the centre. The MBE, Member of the Order of the British Empire Award from the King, is a testament to the life-changing impact she has made in her community. Alongside her voluntary work, 46-year-old Victoria is employed locally as a personal assistant with Persimmon Homes, East Scotland, where she plays a key role in the smooth running of construction sites across the Lothians and Forth Valley. Persimmon supports local communities through its Community Champions programme, donating $750,000 each year, and its Building Future scheme with donations of over $1 million. Reacting to news of the award, Victoria said, "I'm incredibly humbled to receive this recognition. It reflects the commitment of an amazing small team that continues to provide vital support through the Boghall Drop-In Centre. I'm also deeply grateful to Persimmon Homes East Scotland, whose generous support and ongoing charitable donations, contributed by employees and backed wholeheartedly by senior management, have enabled us to assist families for up to 6 months at a time. I'm proud to be part of such a compassionate organisation and proud to stand alongside the incredible and resilient people of Boghall and West Lothian."
baby boom time at Five Sisters. Five Sisters Zoo in West Calder is enjoying a burst of new life this summer with the arrival of several adorable new additions across the range of species. The family-run attraction has welcomed a hatching Humboldt penguin chick, which is said to be thriving under the care of its attentive parents. Meanwhile, tiny Parma wallaby joeys have begun peeking out from their mothers' pouches, delighting visitors with their first shy appearances. At the zoo's tropical enclosure, 2 Emperor tamarin babies, instantly recognisable thanks to their distinctive moustache-like markings, are clinging tightly to their parents as they settle into their new surroundings. Elsewhere, a lively litter of prairie dog pups has surfaced from the underground burrows, already proving a hit with guests thanks to their playful energy. A spokesperson for the zoo said, "This baby boom is a wonderful reflection of the positive, healthy environments we created for our animals. While some of the births are part of a planned breeding programme, others have come about naturally, thanks to the animals feeling safe, settled and well cared for, and every single one is worth celebrating. The births are also part of Five Sisters Zoo's broader commitment to conservation, with several of the species involved playing an important role in global efforts to protect vulnerable wildlife populations."
Adam loses his fight for life in hospital as 2 appear in court. Teenager dies after Broxburn incident. A teenager has died following a disturbance at a property in West Lothian. Emergency services were called to a property on McCann Avenue in Broxburn after the alarm was raised at about 1:15 a.m. on Friday, July the 4th. Ambulance crews attended and 3 men, aged 18, 25 and 28, were taken to the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh for treatment. Police then confirmed that Adam Nevin, 18, died in hospital on Sunday. Connor Jenkinson, 25, of West Lothian, and Shane Jenkinson, 28, of Armadale, were arrested and charged in connection with the death. The pair appeared at Edinburgh Sheriff Court on Monday, charged with murder and behaving in a way which causes fear or alarm. They made no plea and were remanded in custody to appear again at court within the next 8 days. Adam's family and friends have been left heartbroken following the incident, and tributes have been paid online. Caden Bailey wrote, "R.I.P. my brother. Absolutely devastated. You were some boy. I'll never forget our chats out the window at Kane Park, talking about life and the things we'd been through. I'd do anything to hug you one last night." The area remained taped off at McCann Avenue and Loaning Hill Road, while Uphall Skate Park was also shut down as a result. Multiple officers in uniform were pictured standing guard. Police were also seen scouring a wooded area over the weekend. Officers say that a report will be sent to the Procurator Fiscal. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, "Around 1:15 a.m. on Friday, July the 4th, 2025, police received a report of a disturbance at a property on McCann Avenue, Broxburn. Emergency services attended and 3 men, aged 18, 25 and 28, were taken to the Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh for treatment. On Sunday, July the 6th, 2025, Adam Nevin, 18, died within hospital. His family is aware. The other 2 men, aged 25 and 28 years, have been arrested and charged in connection with the death. They appeared at Edinburgh Sheriff Court on Monday. A report will be submitted to the Procurator Fiscal.
MP Poynton raises real concerns over AI kid sexual abuse material. Livingston's MP has raised concerns about the growing prevalence of AI-generated child sexual abuse material. Gregor Poynton was speaking in the House of Commons during questions to the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology when he described it as one of the biggest threats to our public safety. The West Lothian MP cited warnings from law enforcement bodies stressing the need for urgent and coordinated action, and criticised recent opposition from the Tories and Reform Party to new legislation designed to tackle the issue. The National Crime Agency and other law enforcement agencies have highlighted the growing prevalence of AI-generated child sexual abuse material as one of the biggest threats to our public safety, he said, and it's a growing threat to all of us online. That's why I was astonished to see the Conservatives and Reform Party vote against the Policing and Crime Bill last week, which contained world-leading measures to criminalise the creation and distribution of AI-generated child sexual abuse material. We simply cannot allow child safety to become a political football. Responding on behalf of the UK Government, Minister for Tech and the Digital Economy, Perval Clark MP, confirmed that the bill introduces a new criminal offence targeting AI models optimised to produce child abuse imagery. She reiterated the government's commitment to adapting the law to keep pace with emerging digital harms. Child sexual exploitation and abuse is one of the most horrendous harms, the Minister said. This new offence builds on protections in the Online Safety Act, and I am very clear that nothing is off the table when it comes to keeping our children safe. Gregor Poynton chairs the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Children's Online Safety and has consistently advocated for tougher regulation of harmful online content and greater transparency from tech companies. He welcomed the new offence as a necessary step, but expressed concern about the political divisions that have emerged around the issue. He added, "Last week, Parliament had the opportunity to come together behind one of the toughest crackdowns yet on AI-generated child abuse material. It's disappointing that the Conservatives and Reform chose to oppose it." On an issue as serious as child safety, families across the UK expect politicians to do the right thing, to keep our children and young people safe online, not to turn this into a political football.
Band team bring home the trophy. A West Lothian brass ensemble returned home victorious after travelling to the northeast of England to take part in a musical competition. Bathgate Brass Band made the long journey to County Durham on June 14th, where they took part in the annual Beamish March and Hymn Tune contest run by Durham County Brass Band Association. Setting off early in the morning, the band travelled to the Beamish Living Museum near Durham. The museum setting, with its deep connections to mining heritage, was a fitting backdrop for a wonderful competition celebrating the brass band tradition. With warm weather and ideal conditions, Bathgate joined 9 other competing bands, each performing a march and a hymn tune for the contest adjudicator and crowd. Despite the lengthy 7-hour round trip, the effort proved more than worthwhile as Bathgate Brass Band scored a double victory. Conducted by their MD Craig Anderson, the band delivered a stunning performance of Clive Barraclough's Cimarroin and the Salvation Army hymn When I Survey, impressing both the judge and the audience. Their musical excellence secured first place in both the hymn tune and the march category, which meant they claimed the overall competition title as well. Speaking after the event, band president Jerry Dugan expressed the band's delight at their win, saying, "The Beamish contest has become one of the events of the band looks forward to most in our calendar. The setting of the mining museum brings out the deep heritage of the brass band movement, and particularly that of our band. We were delighted that we put on a performance that the adjudicator and the crowd really enjoyed. It makes theirs travelling down in a bus worthwhile." And there's a great picture of the band receiving their trophies, and there's lots of smiling faces.
Palace Party boasts new solar stage first. Party at the Palace will be doing its bit for the planet by featuring Scotland's first ever solar-powered stage when it takes place next month. Thanks to Green Fox, renewable energy pioneers, the festival will host the Green Fox Energy Breakthrough stage, twinning clean energy and the joy of live music. Over 7,000 music lovers will head to Bonnyton Farm in Linlithgow on Saturday and Sunday, August the 2nd and 3rd, to watch headline acts Boney M and Squeeze, and for the first time a large part of the festival will be sun-powered. The new solar setup will supply sound, lighting and equipment using a combination of solar panels and battery storage. The battery will be fully charged with green energy generated in the days before the event. The system is expected to produce up to 100 kilowatt hours of clean energy over the weekend, enough to power an average UK home for about 10 days, and will prevent around 20 kilograms of CO2 emissions. Festivals are full of energy, and now we're bringing the renewable kind too, said Eddie Curran, co-founder of Green Fox Energy. It's brilliant to now be part of the action and help power a festival that's such a big part of the local community. In a world where most festivals still rely on diesel generators, the Green Fox initiative proves solar power is a viable, vibrant alternative and a great fit for a family-friendly, future-focused event like Party in the Palace. Eddie added, "It's a small step with a big message. At Party at the Palace alone, switching to solar saves around 20 kilograms of CO2, and that's just one stage at one festival. If every festival across the UK did the same, we could save over 12.8 tonnes of emissions each year. It shows how small changes delivered at scale start to really add up. This is just the beginning, and we're excited to explore even more ways to make Party at the Palace a leader in sustainable, low-impact events in the future." Now in its 11th year, Party at the Palace continues to grow, as does its commitment to doing things differently. We're always looking for ways to make the festival better, not just for the fans, but for the planet too, said John Richardson, director of Party at the Palace. We're very much a family festival, so it's important to us to help create a better future for the next generation. We are passionate about leading by example, both through our work in the local community and encouraging people to make more eco-friendly choices. That's why bringing in solar power with Green Fox Energy is such a proud moment. It's a simple idea to use the sun's power to drive our second stage, but one that shows small changes can make a big difference. And it's fine to start with what is doable now, with the goal to build on its future. In addition to the headliners, a vibrant lineup on the Green Fox Energy stage will include standout performances From Laurie Wright, Forgetting the Future and Pistol Daisies. Festival goers can also plug into the movement by showing their Party at the Palace ticket to get 15% off solar installations with Green Fox Energy. For more information, visit www.greenfoxenergy.co.uk. For tickets and more info on the festival, visit partyatthepalace.co.uk.
MBE for Coach Sandra. A West Lothian woman who has dedicated her life to athletics has received her MBE from King Charles III. Sandra Hardacre, 63, a coach at Livingston Athletics Club, was awarded the honour for her services to sport. The mum and gran from Mid-Calder was among those named in the New Year honours list. She first got involved in athletics when she was 10 years old. Sandra began coaching voluntarily at grassroots level as a teenager and has guided a number of young Scottish athletes to success over the years. She met with King Charles at Holyrood Palace on Tuesday, where she was presented with the honour. "I was a bit nervous but felt really proud," said Sandra. "The King was standing on a plinth in the throne room and asked me what involvement I still have in athletics. I told him I still officiate and coach. Then he asked what I used to do when I competed and also added that he thought Scotland was in a really good place at the moment with athletics. I told him I've been doing this for a long time and it's nice to give something back." Sandra still coaches 4 days a week and officiates at weekends. She added, "I don't know what I'd do without athletics. My life has just always been this. It's great seeing young people come through." Sandra was accompanied to Holyrood Palace by her husband Gary, son Ian and daughter-in-law Abby. Lead coach for middle distance at Livingston, Sandra has volunteered at the club for over 20 years. She's a familiar figure at national and district cross-country and road running events throughout Scotland, and was a technical official at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow.
Rebel Bear's bold exhibition. Anonymous urban street artist, the Rebel Bear, left his mark on West Lothian with a bold new exhibition in an unconventional location. In a groundbreaking fusion of urban art and industrial space in Linlithgow, Scotland's mystery street art icon has linked up with Box self-storage at the Mill Road Industrial Estate. The Rebel Bear is known for his anonymous persona, furry bear suit, and powerful murals that explore themes of love, politics, surveillance and humanity. His work has appeared in cities around the world, from Glasgow and Edinburgh to Paris and New York, captivating global audiences while keeping his identity a secret. The one-day-only exhibition was held on Sunday, offering a free and family-friendly experience that reimagines self-storage as a platform for public art. A source close to the Rebel Bear said, "Painting on containers is a way to turn something industrial and functional into something beautiful." For the Bear, it was a rare chance to practice his work without the usual police pressure faced by street artists. Following the free event, selected pieces from the exhibition will be relocated to the new Box site currently under development. Some of the painted containers will even be repurposed as office units, allowing the artwork to become a permanent fixture of the built environment. And there is a picture of his artwork on the side of a blue container. And that's the end of part 1. We'll be back with part 2 very shortly. Welcome back to part 2, and we only have one intimation, and it's a death. Bruce Lelivre from West Calder, peacefully at Heatherfield Nursing Home on Saturday 28th of June 2025. Bruce, age 87 years, a much loved and loving husband of Jean, dear father of Marie and David, sadly missed by all his family and many friends. And that's the only notice, so we'll carry on with some more news items.
MSP praises food train heroes. Amman Valley MSP Angela Constance met with dedicated team members, service users and volunteers to celebrate Food Train's 30-year anniversary and 15 years in West Lothian. Food Train is a charity helping older people across Scotland and offer members practical help to eat well, age well and live well at home for longer by helping with shopping deliveries, helping with odd jobs about the home, befriending and many more activities to help older people at their time of need. SNP MSP Angela praised the dedication of the volunteers and staff who are passionate about supporting older people and expressed her appreciation for the invaluable work the Food Train does within the community. Angela said, "It was a pleasure to attend the anniversary event to celebrate 30 years of Food Train and 15 years within West Lothian. I would like to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported this amazing initiative over the years. For 15 years, Food Train have provided a valuable service to older people throughout West Lothian, supporting vulnerable residents in their own homes and helping to tackle food poverty and social isolation. It was truly inspiring to speak with the dedicated staff and volunteers who are committed to helping older people live independently. Their dedication and kindness have made a huge difference to communities by providing a lifeline to folks who need a helping hand getting their shopping in or a friendly face to chat to. Food Train are always looking for more volunteers, and I would urge anyone interested to contact West Lothian at thefoodtrain.co.uk. For more information, visit West Lothian Food Train on the group's Facebook page.
1.4 million for pools and gyms, giving bit of comfort to leisure services. Public gyms and swimming pools run by West Lothian Council's Arm's Length Leisure Trust have been given some security for the next year after funding of 1.4 million was approved. Councillors agreed to a letter of comfort for the auditors of West Lothian Leisure as the sports provider continues to fight back to strength after financial woes made worse by the COVID lockdown. The Trust's CEO, Ben Lamb, hailed the guarantee of a vital partnership which has transformed lives. Acting Head of Finance at the Council, Kenneth Ribbons, told a meeting of West Lothian Council's executive, as its WLL's external auditors had asked that the Council provide a letter of comfort in relation to WLL's 24-25 audit for the financial year 2025-26. This is similar to that provided in relation to WLL's 2023-2024 audit process. He added, "The letter of comfort will state that the Council has determined that it will continue to undertake cash flow management with WLL to allow WLL to meet its everyday cash liabilities in respect of the financial year 2025 to 26, to allow WLL to remain in credit at all times, thus allowing WLL to proceed as a going concern and to meet everyday cash liabilities over the financial year. Last year, the Council Executive backed proposals that would allow the local sport and leisure charity to extend and improve their gym facilities at the Bathgate and Whitburn Excite venues. The Council undertook borrowing on behalf of West Lothian Leisure to invest more than $870,000 to extend gym facilities at both centres and refurbish the studio at Excite Whitburn for classes and activities. This allows WLL to grow its membership and customer base, improve the customer experience at these sites, increase physical activity participation levels, and generate more income going forward, as they aim to become fully self-funding by 2028. The full cost of the borrowing will be met by West Lothian Leisure from the increased levels of income generated and would be cost neutral to the Council. Responding to the Council's confirmation of support, Ben Lamb, CEO of West Lothian Leisure, said, "We are grateful to West Lothian Council for their continued support. This vital partnership has helped us transform lives, improve well-being, and reach more people, with 2.6 million visits in 2023-24 and 14.4 million in social value generated. As public funding reduces, we remain committed to building a sustainable future while continuing to advocate for investment in services and initiatives that support access for those who need it most." WLL's Excite Hubs are working with the Council's Summer of Fun programme, providing fully funded summer camps at all Excite venues this July and August for Primary 1 to Primary 7 pupils. The summer camps will run until August 7th, led by qualified Excite coaches. The camps aim to help children stay active, build confidence, and make new friends during the summer holidays. Activities range from badminton, basketball, multisports, athletics, and team building. The summer camps are being supported by 4 local food suppliers, which means that every child attending has something to eat and drink for free daily. The importance of West Lothian Leisure's Coaching Schools outreach programme was highlighted recently at Seafield Primary School, where pupils enjoyed a health week thanks to the charity's coaching support.
Almost 40 people reported after police task force cracks down on West Lothian shoplifters. Police Scotland's Retail Crime Task Force has cracked down on shoplifting in West Lothian, with almost 40 people reported to the Procurator Fiscal in connection with retail offences. An initiative funded by the task force was launched on Monday, May the 26th, in an effort to address the ongoing increase of shoplifting and other crimes taking place within West Lothian stores. Officers have since been carrying out high-visibility patrols throughout numerous town centres that they have identified to be the most impacted by retail crime, using analysis of crime figures. They have also made efforts to engage with retailers to improve security measures on site. From May the 26th to July the 2nd, enforcement action has been carried out in Livingston, Bathgate, Blackburn, Whitburn, Pumferston and Armadale, following a series of offences that took place at convenience stores in these areas. In total, 39 people have been reported for a total of 172 crimes. Chief Inspector Elaine MacArthur-Kerr, local area commander for West Lothian, said, "Shoplifting is not a victimless crime. It impacts businesses, staff, and the wider community. We take this issue seriously and will continue working closely with retailers to reduce these offences and implement preventative measures." The funding and specialist support from the Retail Crime Task Force demonstrates our commitment to supporting local businesses and ensuring West Lothian remains a safe place to live, work and shop. I also want to make it clear that those responsible for shoplifting or the harassment and abuse of retail workers will be robustly pursued and brought to justice.
Charity delight at cafe decision. Age Scotland has said a cafe in a West Lothian care complex facing closure is a model for improving later living in a never-ageing society. Welcoming the decision to stall on a closure decision for the Rosemount Garden Care Complex in Bathgate, the national charity described it as great news. Adam Stakura, the policy director at Age Scotland, last Thursday's 11th hour hold was an opportunity to look to the future. West Lothian's Integration Joint Board had been asked to rubber stamp the closure of the cafe, which operates in the complex, as part of a range of savings the board has to make this year. Mr. Stakura told the local Democracy Reporting Service, "We should have more joined-up places like Rosemount Gardens available to older people, not fewer, as the benefits to residents' health, well-being and quality of life are abundantly clear as soon as you walk in the door." The cafe is the beating heart of Rosemount Gardens and has immense value to residents, providing good food and keeping them connected. It is great news that it will stay open for a little longer while the IJB take part in further, hopefully meaningful engagement with residents and customers to better understand the impact its closure will have. This is a really important step and opportunity to look to the future and work out how it can be saved. He added, "Plans to remove such a vital part of the housing complex have been short-sighted, and we sincerely hope the cafe can remain." The cafe in the Rosemount Gardens Care Complex is open 6 days per week, but currently operates at a loss of £100,000 per year because of a lack of custom. From the outset, critics have believed the closure plan was ill-conceived and the cafe seen as a low-hanging fruit, a cut which could be made without too much effect, and saving £136,000 by relocating the staff elsewhere in council facilities. Last week, Councillor Tom Conn won agreement from other councillors and voting members of the board to delay a decision until the August meeting of the board. He told the meeting that circumstances had changed and added, "I move the position that the board agrees to move the determination on this matter to its meeting on 17th of August to allow us to bring back a revised Consumer Duty Impact Assessment and a revised Impact Assessment, if necessary, to the board for consideration." Earlier this year, the LDRS reported that the Health and Social Care Partnership was facing a £7 million overspend from the rising costs of social care. Last week, Rosemount Cafe campaigner Jackie Davison described the news as fantastic. She added, "Good sense prevailed. Now we can move forward with our business plan.
Councillor Moira Macaulay won a guarantee over firework zone. More time for firework zone views. Community groups in West Lothian have been given extra time to air their views on firework safety in what could be a prelude to a bid to set up firework control zones. Livingston South Councillor Maria Macaulay won a guarantee of an extra 3 weeks for community groups to make their contribution following a safety awareness event in April. Several groups in Livingston last year expressed interest in setting up the control zones in a bid to control antisocial behaviour. Initial attempts to establish the new feature, first introduced by Holyrood legislation last year, had limited success at trouble spots in Edinburgh. Councillor Macaulay, who asked for more time for community groups, told the Local Democracy Reporting Service, "I'm really pleased to see that communities are being given extra time. That's a positive step forward. Although the meeting has already taken place, I'm glad that those who weren't able to attend will still have the opportunity to have their voices heard. I'm more than happy to pass on any concerns they have." A meeting of the Public and Community Safety Committee heard that the aim of Blackburn event was to provide an opportunity to gather views on the West Lothian community safety approach to fireworks safety and to offer an opportunity to community groups to share their views on the legislation, which controls the sale and supply of fireworks, and to feed these comments back to the Scottish Government. The event specifically looked at the process of setting up firework control zones, community engagement, supporting licence events and promoting quieter alternatives. Rules on the sale and supply of fireworks were also considered. All agreed that there is a requirement for a national awareness campaign on fireworks safety and the legislation relating to fireworks. This should cover impact, noise, mess from fireworks, antisocial behaviour, parental responsibility, education, legislative provisions and penalties for breaches. The community groups which took part agreed that there should be a restriction on the dates during which fireworks can be purchased by members of the public, and also a further restriction on the dates when members of the public can set off fireworks should be reduced. There was agreement for all who took part that the use of low-noise fireworks should be promoted, or the use of loud fireworks and pyrotechnics restricted. Conservative councillor Alison Adamson expressed frustration with the current firework legislation, especially around firework sales. She told the meeting, "I'm disappointed that members were not invited to this event. I do feel that members could have helped promote this." Julie Whitelaw, the head of Housing, Customer and Building Services, said the information shared with the community groups provided by Scottish Fire and Rescue Service had already been shared with councillors. Councillor Adamson said, "I'm hugely frustrated by this whole fireworks business. The legislation by the Scottish Government was never going to be good enough. We are going to have to take this further." Praising local initiatives, she highlighted the difficulty in controlling the supply of fireworks and pointed to an incident earlier this year when a van filled with fireworks exploded in the west of Scotland. After the meeting, Councillor Macaulay told the LDRS, It would be really positive to have emergency frontline workers involved in these discussions, as they deal directly with the impacts of fireworks, whether that's through antisocial behaviour, noise complaints, or safety incidents. Their experience and insight are invaluable. I look forward to seeing how this progresses and will continue to support open dialogue across the ward.
Dinosaur Discovery Trail coming to town. If you're looking for a dynamite day out for the youngsters during the summer holidays while enjoying a bit of shopping, then West Lothian is the place to be. Livingston Designer Outlet will go Jurassic crazy this July with lifelike dinosaurs, ranger training and endless photo opportunities for the whole family to enjoy. There's a Dinosaur Discovery Trail running from Monday, July 7th to Sunday, July 20th. Visitors can enjoy a host of dinosaur-themed events, making it the ultimate day out to remember. Guests can embark on a journey through time as they explore 6 dinosaur-themed zones located throughout the outlet, featuring animatronic dinosaurs, a jungle environment and exciting sound effects. Roaming dinosaurs will feature on July 9th to the 11th and 16th to 18th from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m, when the experience will become even more immersive as roaming encounters with raptors and a T-Rex will make unexpected appearances throughout the day. 2 life-size dinosaurs will be taking over the grand staircase. Noisy Norman, an animatronic model, and a static giant T-Rex, standing at almost 2 metres tall and 3 metres long. Noisy Norman towers over guests and roars into life for those who are brave enough to get close. Watch out for the swinging tail and razor-sharp teeth. Noisy Norman will be on show from July 7th to the 11th and July 16th to 20th, and Giant T-Rex will take Norman's place from July 12th to the 15th to wow visitors with equally great prehistoric power. There will also be ranger training and a baby dinosaur experience at the grand staircase from July 9th to the 11th and 16th to 18th from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. Budding explorers can sign up for ranger training at Dino Base Camp, where 2 expert safari rangers will guide guests through a 15-minute session covering essential dinosaur survival skills. At the end of each session, newly qualified rangers will get the chance to meet a baby dinosaur. Michelle Whitelaw, Centre Manager at Livingston Designer Outlet, said, "We are always looking for ways to deliver memorable experiences alongside brilliant shopping, and bringing the Jurassic era to Livingston Designer Outlet is not one to be missed this summer. Whether it's meeting Noisy Norman, taking part in ranger training, or getting amazing photos throughout the whole outlet, there's something for everyone to enjoy." Livingston Designer Outlet is Scotland's largest outlet shopping destination, offering over 80 brands, restaurants and cafes under one roof. Detailed breakdown of the Jurassic timings can be found on at Livingston Designer Outlet Instagram or at www.livingstondesigneroutlet.co.uk.
Positive outcomes for school leavers. Almost 96% of West Lothian school leavers went on to positive destinations this year, counsellors on the Education PDSP heard. Linlithgow counsellor Pauline Orr said the council should be proud that the improvements were seen throughout the county's 12 high schools. Beverly Akinlami, CLD Youth Services Manager, told the meeting overall performance is improving. A paper presented to the last meeting before the summer recess revealed that a total of 95.8% of last year's West Lothian's school leavers went into a positive destination, a 1.7% improvement from 2022-23. Among black and minority ethnic young people, the figure was even higher, with 99.4% going into a positive destination, a 4.1% increase, and the highest levels achieved in the past 5 years. Ms. Akinlami's report to the PDSP said, "Those who engaged in higher education, further education, training, voluntary work, employment or skills development are classified as having a positive destination." Other initial destinations include school leavers who are unemployed, not seeking employment or training, those who are unemployed and seeking employment or training, and individuals whose initial destination is unknown. The initial destinations data provides information on the outcomes for young people as recorded on Monday, the 7th of October 2024, approximately 3 months after leaving school. Insight will be updated with the follow-up destinations in late June 2025. A breakdown shows 23.4% of young people moved into employment, consistent with the previous year. 25.8% of young people entered further education, a drop of 1.6% from 2022-23, and 39.2% of young people entered higher education, a 0.6% increase from last year. Councillor Orr said, "It's been a really good report. I particularly like Appendix 1. I think there can be perception across the county that some schools are better than others. I think the report shows overall there's really not much difference between all of our high schools. That's something West Lothian should be proud of." The SNP councillor asked if it would be possible to see a comparison with the results from other local authorities as a way of measuring success. Siobhan McGarty, Head of Secondary Education, said the council had been working with other authorities for the last 18 months and had taken quite a bit of learning from them, especially around partnerships.
New training gear for Rose Footy Starlets. Young footballers in West Lothian are feeling the support of their community after receiving brand new training jackets thanks to the generosity of Specsavers. The opticians and audiology business, based at the Regent Centre in the town, donated £1,000 to Linlithgow Rose Girls Under 14 team, helping them to kit out with their new outerwear for the upcoming season. The donation is the latest example of the store's ongoing commitment to supporting grassroots sport and youth development in the local area. Diana Kelly, store director at Specsavers in Linlithgow, said, "It's been a real pleasure to support Linlithgow Rose girls over the years and see the team go from strength to strength. We are proud to continue backing such an inspiring club in our community, and we hope this latest round of kits helps encourage even more girls in the area to get involved in the beautiful game." Morai Grant, Secretary of Linlithgow Rose Community Football Club Girls Section, added, "We'd like to say a huge thank you to Specsavers for their generous sponsorship of the Linlithgow Rose Girls Section." And you can follow the Girls Club on social media to learn more about its footballing sessions. And that's the end of part 2. We'll be back with part 3 with the usual quiz that you're all looking forward to. Welcome back to part 3, which will be our usual quiz, the layout of which is now 6 pub quiz questions. Remember to listen in to the start of part 4 for the answers to the quiz. So here we go with the quiz. Which group released the album Definitely Maybe in 1994? Was it A, Blur, B, Pulp, or C, Oasis? Question 2. What is the capital of the island of Menorca? Is it San Antonio, Mahon, or Palma? Question 3. Who directed the 1997 multiple Oscar-winning film Titanic? Was it Gus Van Sant, James Cameron, or Curtis Hanson? Question 4. Who captained England during the 2023 Ashes series? Was it Stuart Broad, Moeen Ali, or Ben Stokes? Question 5. Where on the body would a topi, T-O-P-I, be worn? On the head, or the hand, or the foot? And question 6 is, what was the first name of Margaret Thatcher's husband? Was it Norman, John, or Dennis? We'll come back with the answers to that in part 4. Welcome back to part 4, and here are the answers to the quiz. Question 1 was, which group released the album Definitely Maybe in 1994? Blur, Pulp, or Oasis? And the answer was Oasis. Question 2, what is the capital of the island of Menorca? And the options were San Antonio, Mahon, or Palma, and the answer was Mahon. Question 3, who directed the 1997 multiple Oscar-winning film Titanic? Was it Gus Van Sant, James Cameron, or Curtis Hanson? And the answer was James Cameron. Question 4. Who captained England during the 2023 Ashes series? Was it Stuart Broad, Moeen Ali, or Ben Stokes? And the answer was Ben Stokes. Question 5. Where on the body would a topi, T-O-P-I, be worn? Was it the head, hand, or foot? And the answer was the head. And the question 6, what was the first name of Margaret Thatcher's husband? Was it Norman, John, or Dennis? And the answer is Dennis. So that's the quiz finished, so we'll move on to more news.
Lifeline support for old age pensioners this winter. Fiona Hislop, MSP, has welcomed Lifeline support for West Lothian pensioners during winter from the Scottish Government. The SNP's Linlithgow constituency MSP commented following confirmation that all pensioners in Scotland with an income of less than £35,000 will receive the pension age winter heating payment this winter. These payments will be either £203.40 or £305.10 per household, depending on age, meaning that Scottish pensioners will be better off compared to those in the rest of the UK. Fiona said, "I welcome this support for pensioners across West Lothian. These payments will ensure that those most in need get the support they need this winter and will be a lifeline for many people across West Lothian. After changes were made to the winter fuel payment by the Labour government last year, the Scottish Government ensured that support was available to pensioners in Scotland too.
E-learning module to help support smokers. A charity's e-learning module can help people in West Lothian who are receiving support for alcohol and drug use to live tobacco-free. Ash Scotland's new e-module provides vital information for alcohol and drug workers and volunteers to encourage smokers who are being supported to reduce their use of alcohol and other drugs to seek assistance to give up tobacco products. Statistics show the level of smoking for people entering treatment for problematic substance use is substantially higher than the rate of the general adult population, and the new learning aid can inform how to best support service users who want to quit smoking. The health charity's Smoking and Problematic Substance Use module covers a range of topics, including details about the linked behaviours between smoking and drinking alcohol or using drugs, the impacts of smoking on psychotropic drugs which may be provided during treatment, raising the issue of smoking and signposting to NHS Scotland's free specialist Quit Your Way service. Sheila Duffy, Chief Executive for Ash Scotland, said, "Our new e-learning module is designed to increase awareness and provide essential opportunities to learn about the negative impacts that tobacco use can have on the lives of people who are being supported to reduce consumption of alcohol and other drugs."
Top-class pupils get great report at St Mary's. A primary school and nursery class in West Lothian received a good report following a visit by inspectors. The Education Scotland team spent time at St Mary's RC Primary and Polbeth Nursery class in April this year, and during their visit they talked to parents, carers and children and worked closely with the head teacher and staff. The school and nursery class received good and very good marks respectively following the visit after Education Scotland published the findings from their inspection on Tuesday, June the 17th. Inspectors marked the school as good for learning, teaching and assessment and raising attainment and achievement. Meanwhile, the nursery was ranked very good for learning, teaching and assessment and good in securing children's progress. A small number of areas for improvement were identified and also discussed with the head teacher and a representative from West Lothian Council, with inspectors confident the school has the capacity to continue to improve. Head teacher Helen Pritchard said, "We're pleased with the outcome from our recent visit from Education Scotland. As a staff team, we're dedicated to improving all aspects of education for our young people, while they are with us from the nursery class all the way through primary education. We will take on board both positive feedback and areas for improvement and look to continue to develop our practices." Executive Councillor for Education, Andrew Maguire, said, "The report from Education Scotland reflects positively on the children, staff and the wider school community around St Mary's and Polbeth nursery class. I'd like to pass on best wishes to staff and look forward to seeing how the school continues its positive work in the future."
Real fares for centres after 15 months of stress. Plans to transfer community centres across West Lothian have caused 15 months of stress and anxiety, said councillors this week. As an autumn deadline looms, West Lothian Council's executive heard frustrations from around the chamber about a lack of clarity in choices being faced. The only obvious certainty is a long-running campaign to save $1 million a year is that most centres will have fewer staff and fewer opening hours, as the majority of buildings will likely come under the council control. Only around half of the $1 million has so far been found. Lib Dem councillor Sally Pattle said many involved in community centres were deeply concerned about the future. SNP Deputy Leader Pauline Stafford told the meeting there had been little clarity on the process from the start. And Labour veteran Tom Coyne said there was little clear water between the choices of leases offered to management committees. Julie Whitelaw, the head of Housing, Customer and Building Services, told the meeting that only 8 management committees have, to date, chosen 3 options, initially offered of community asset transfer, a full lease, and a lease with recharge costs. In the first option, the management committee takes full ownership of the building. In the second, the committee takes on a full lease with responsibility for all repairs. And in the third, it takes responsibility of the internal repair and maintenance, but the council, as landlord, can carry out and charge for external repairs. The 26 centres which have chosen none of the above could now just be taken into council control. A report said, under this model, the operation and management of facilities would no longer be undertaken by a management committee, and the lease would be terminated and council staff would operate and manage the facilities. Councillor Stafford told the meeting the question arises as to why this was not on the table from the outset, as many would have opted for this. The parameters of the first 3 options have caused untold stress, not least to those running the centres, but also to user groups who feared the loss of their spaces that are central to their lives. She stressed that she recognised the huge shift put in by council staff and said her criticism was directed at the administration. The SNP group had questions about what the council management would look like. The worry is that community centres would remain nominally open, but reduced hours and excessive room booking costs would effectively make them inaccessible to many of the user groups. Councillor Cohen criticised the SNP party political broadcast and pointed that the lack of funding from Edinburgh is at the root of why the council was having to undertake the process. He branded the party's stance as an abdication of responsibility. He said the last 15 months has shown that the status quo was not fine and a better operating platform for community centres would be developed as a result. But he maintained that management committees would not see the distinctions between the one type of lease and another if the council could recover costs from management committees as if it carried out repairs. He said there is no clear water. I respect officers may have different positions. I don't think this gives a clarity to the management committees that this is an option that they should sign up to, and it gives them comfort, particularly when it comes to other related property costs. If the roof falls in, does it mean that it's going to be repaired by the council? And if it is there going to be a recharge? I don't think the paper fully addresses that. Councillor Pattle said, as this drags on, the amount of negative impact that it has on staff and volunteers who make up the management committees is only increasing. The concerns raised today were raised at the beginning. Each of the centres is individual. It's very likely that a bespoke solution will have to be found for each one of them, and that doesn't seem to have been taken into consideration by officers until now. I really question whether a realistic forecast of future usage has been taken into consideration with the council-operated model. I also question whether they really expect volunteers to be part of these building user groups going forward, and that leads to being enormously concerned about what that means for the viability of these sites in future. I am not reassured by the report today that West Lothian Council is moving quickly enough to provide answers to the community centres. The staff and I are in contact with are deeply worried about what the future holds for them.
Developer announces homes plan. A green lung at the heart of a new West Lothian housing development is set to become more houses, more than 20 years after it was earmarked as the site of a much-needed shopping centre. Plans to develop more than 70 homes on the site, as well as 4 shops, were rejected by West Lothian Council last year amid concern the community needed shops rather than more homes. Following an appeal, however, the Scottish Government reporter has agreed with the builders that shopping habits had changed and that a maximum of 5 retail units was adequate in a high-density development that will mainly be homes and flats on the edge of Bathgate. Local councillor Willie Boyle met with Persimmon last week and believes the best that can be had is that the few shops in the development will be of practical use for the community. The last thing he wants to see is the spread of hairdressers, nail bars and vape shops. Discussions with Persimmons opened the door to potential for community benefit in the few shop units, said Councillor Boyle. Mr. Boyle told the local Democracy Reporting Service that his comments had been received positively, beyond my initial expectations. He and fellow SNB councillor for Bathgate, Pauline Stafford, had been among the most vociferous in their objection to the development of the site at Simpson Avenue and Leyland Road when it was rejected by West Lothian Council in April last year. At a meeting of the Development Management Committee in April 24, Council Boyle branded the proposals a nonsense and delivered a lengthy and detailed demolition of the Persimmon Homes plan to build 73 homes and 15 flats, but only 4 shops on the site at Simpson Avenue and Leyland Road. Westerange was built largely on the sites of the former BMC lorry plant and other industrial plants, which occupied the area until the 1980s. The site, planned as a village centre, was greened during the initial housing development and is now used and recognised as open space. Objectors, mainly those living in Westerange, had grown used to the site being an open space for exercise, a green lung in the heart of the huge housing scheme. The loss of open space was one of their principal complaints. Councillor Stafford told the initial DMC hearing in 24 that development of the site would add to the oppressive atmosphere of the estate, which has almost 2,000 homes. The site was almost a breath of fresh air when you reached it, she added. On appeal to the Division of Planning and Environment Appeals, the appointed reporter, Jai Alistair Edwards, backed Persimmon's plan, adding conditions on the timing of a development of the site. In his report, he pointed out the site is located within a settlement boundary and has been promoted for development for a substantial period over 2 decades. Therefore, I find that a reasonable and efficient use of the land, complementary to the residential surroundings, would be to support housing on the appeal site. Indeed, that conclusion is confirmed by the Council's reasons for refusal, which do not dispute the principle of housing on the appeal site. Councillor Boyle told the LDRS, having followed due process, West Lothian Council has attempted to achieve a more open aspect in the village centre that would compensate for the higher density throughout the rest of the development. I feel that, as elected members, we should press to get the best we can for our towns. However, we can't win every argument, and I accept that the decision has now been taken to uphold the developer's appeal. There is a condition that the retail units should be delivered first, and I welcome this as some local services are needed now.
Members' life through a lens. Moments in time in a small, closely knit West Lothian town have been captured for eternity through the eye of a camera lens. An ambitious photography project in Blackridge has become a celebration of the area's resilience, community connection and heritage. The Armadale and Blackridge Camera Club's Community Life Stamp project explores and documents the rich history from its 1581 origins as a coaching stop between Glasgow and Edinburgh, from a village to its industrial coal mining heritage and modern railway renaissance. Then and now photos of the town highlight key landmarks and events. Some members captured contemporary streetscapes using both traditional cameras and drone technology. Others reached out to older residents in the community for historical photographs and stories. This revealed an unexpected treasure. The reminiscence and storytelling of long-time residents proved as valuable as the photographs themselves. For one Camera Club member, Tom Castle, whose wife Christine had died suddenly, the project offered focus and purpose during a difficult period. His active engagement with older residents exemplified how the initiative fostered intergenerational connections and cultural knowledge exchange. It also demonstrated how community-led creative projects build vital social networks alongside preserving local heritage. The completed timeline photographs now grace Blackridge Community Centre as a permanent community resource. There are also plans for a local calendar and ongoing social media engagement. In a community still economically affected by the decline of heavy industry, this heritage project serves as both a historical record and a social connection tool. The Camera Club had applied for funding from the Blackridge Community Fund to get the project off the ground. The fund's decision-making panel, which is made up of local residents, recognised the rich potential of the project and awarded £1,500 from community benefit funding from nearby Harthill Wind Farm. The group were encouraged to publicise their plans and seek members through the community newsletter. Malcolm Jack, Community Funds Manager at Foundation Scotland, recently saw the end results. He said, "Visiting the Craigan Centre for the Blackridge Community Fund panel meeting recently, I was really impressed with the then and now photographs, capturing, in a nutshell, Blackridge's evolution over the past 50-plus years. It's an example of how a small amount of community benefit funding can fuel the efforts of dedicated community groups like this, Camera Club, and make a difference in lots of different ways within a community. These evocative photos certainly epitomise the community spirit in Blackridge. The Armadale and Blackridge Camera Club's achievement shows how modest grants can enable grassroots organisations to create lasting cultural and social value, preserving industrial heritage whilst forging connections between established residents and newcomers in rapidly changing communities. Since the project was completed, the club has changed name and is now known as Blackridge Camera Club. Read more about the Blackridge Community Fund and how to apply at www.foundationscotland.org.uk/apply for funding. Blackridge Camera Club meet every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at Blackridge Community Centre. Anyone with an interest in photography, regardless of their ability, is welcome to attend.
Pupils inspired at the Squinty Tree premiere. The Squinty Tree is famous in the Craigshill community, or at least it will be now. The premiere of the short animation about the Squinty Tree took place last month in the big living room at Almond HQ and was attended by local councillors, Almond contractors and staff, as well as pupils from Lothian Primary School. The tree, which is thought to be a hawthorn, sits on almond land, just below the new community orchard at Hobart Street in Livingston. It's a one-off and has grown and flourished despite everything that's happened to it. To celebrate its uniqueness, Almond engaged with local Scottish storyteller Colin Williamson to produce a narrative about the tree. Sally Thompson, Communications Officer for Almond Housing and the animation originator, said, "I envisaged a giant tree standing proud on a hill, when in fact it's rather unassuming and possibly unseen by many who walk by. But the tale was amazing, and the way that Colin told it was captivating." Colin doesn't write his stories down, he tells them in the traditional way, like his grandfather taught him. Consequently, there was nothing to publish in the conventional sense of the word, which is why Sally considered the use of animation to bring the tale to life and to allow it to hopefully live on for many years to come. With drawings from Perthshire-based artist Katie Bourne, combined with production skills from Sabine Klaus-Carter at Creation Editor, the animation took shape, but no one got to see it before the premiere. Jane Deary, Community Engagement Officer at Almond, who organised the premiere, said, "We wanted to create a bit of a buzz and make an occasion of the first screening, so no one else was allowed to see the film in advance, not even Colin, and I think it worked. We had a great turnout and the response was really positive. It's a film about the community, made for the community, and was supported by the community." Following the screening, the school children took part in an art activity which was supported by Spark and involved them creating wooden signs for the community orchard. Whilst they did this, other audience members had a tour of the local area in the sunshine, visiting the Squinty Tree, the community orchard, the Craigshill Community Garden, and the recently renovated Victoria Street Planters. John Davidson, CEO of Almond Housing, added, "I wasn't entirely sure what to expect, but I thought the film was superb, beautifully presented." And he added, "Colin is inspiring, and I think the animation captured this. It was great to invite so many people to our office and have such support for this project. Thanks to all those who took the time out of the day to join this premiere event." The Squinty Tree animation can be found on YouTube.
And that brings us to the end of part 4. And although that brings us to the end of the news from the Courier, please stay tuned, and I will let you know when we have finally finished the recording. Now, Ray, one of our team, has been out and about and has recorded an interview with Fiona Hislop, MSP, and we have inserted that recording here.
Hello listeners, and welcome to another edition of our interview feature, which we include in some of our recordings. This time, Fiona Hislop, MSP for Linlithgow constituency, has taken some time out of her busy schedule and agreed to sit in the hot seat. So without further ado, we'll begin. Welcome, Fiona. Thank you very much for making the time available to speak to me.
Hello, and it's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you for the great service you provide to the people of West Lothian.
Can you give our listeners a brief introduction to you as a person? What's your background? How long have you been a member of the Scottish Parliament? Are there any interesting snippets that our listeners could know?
So I'm Fiona Hislop, I'm the MSP for the Linlithgow constituency, and I am one of the few MSPs that was first elected when the Parliament reconvened in 1999. So originally I was a list MSP for the whole of Lothians, but since 2011 I've been the constituency MSP for half of West Lothian. So I cover Linlithgow, Broxburgh, Paul, Whitchburgh, Armadale, Bathgate, and lots of surrounding villages as well. Before I was elected, I worked in financial services in marketing and also as a product development manager. So I had a life outside politics for probably about 13, 14 years. And I only got involved because I wanted to see more women in politics. And everybody said, Fiona, why you keep asking everybody else and why aren't you standing yourself? So I put my name forward, and I've ended up being one of the longest serving MSPs. And in government, I am the only cabinet minister that has been asked to serve in each of the SNP First Minister's cabinets.
That's impressive, which leads me neatly onto the next question. I note that you are currently the Cabinet Secretary for Transport in the Scottish Government, and I would imagine that your job is really demanding. Can you tell us what other cabinet roles you've had? And is there any one position that's been the most satisfying for you?
Well, it's a huge honour and a privilege being asked to serve in the Parliament, but then when you're asked to be part of a government, that's a huge amount of responsibility. When the SNP were first elected into government in 2007, I was only one of 5 cabinet ministers along with the First Minister, and the position I held then was Cabinet Secretary for Education and Lifelong Learning. I did a lot of work in preparation. We hit the ground running. One of the first things I did was to abolish the back-end university tuition fees. So the free university tuition that people now enjoy across West Lothian and Scotland was brought in by an act that I as Minister led. I also helped trial the early years education and childcare. We've now got 1,400 hours of that, but I started that way back then. For the bulk of my time as a Cabinet Secretary, and I was the Cabinet Secretary for External Affairs and Culture, so effectively I was Scotland's ambassador. International affairs, foreign affairs are reserved to the Westminster government, but there's so many interests, whether it's trade, whether it's education, international interests that Scotland has. It's important that we're represented on the world stage. And I helped set up the Scottish Government's offices in Canada, in Paris, in Dublin, in Berlin, and also helped develop that network. So part of that is making sure that people can understand Scotland as a country. We're a great place to invest in, to come and study with, and all these other aspects. And also combining culture. Culture is one of the best ways to reach out to people and to connect with people. And I'm delighted that over that period, I managed to help support our cultural sector to have confidence in itself, and also a lot of capital investments in a lot of the theatres, the concert halls and museums across Scotland I've helped support as well. And I had 2 years in the backbenches. I'd decided that I'd had a long time in government and it was time for new people to come in. And I said to them, First Minister, I was happy to step back. So I had 2 years in the backbenches, which was really good. But I a bit like a footballer coming in at the last minute for the last 25 minutes, I was called back in to help with the very challenging area of the Cabinet Secretary for Transport. And I'm getting on delivering, and that's what people expect me to do. But it's one of these areas that people take for granted. It's almost like it's an invisible necessity, and it's only when it goes wrong that people take notice of it. My job is to make sure it's more of a visible essential. People people value it, they want to see it invested in and supported. I can't say which one I love the best because they were all different. So it's a bit like having favourite children. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, you have announced that you will not be seeking re-election at the next parliamentary elections in May 2026. Is there anything that's prompted this decision?
Well, the fact that people were having to say whether they wanted to stand or not because the elections are in 2026. And I took the decision that now is the right time for me to step back. I'm one of the longest serving MSPs and indeed government ministers. I've been working at probably 110 miles an hour for a long, long time. I've still got a lot to give and I'm a foot to the floor for the next year. But I do think it's time for me to retire. If I was to stand again and if the good people of West Lothian decided to vote for me again, I would have been nearing 67. Now, people who are 67 are young and active, but that's fine. I've still got time in me to do other things with my life. And I think it's time to make way for new talent who I hope that whoever succeeds me will support and serve the people of West Lothian with the passion I hope that I've demonstrated in the commitment as well.
You certainly have. And can you tell us if there are any standout moments of your long career in the Parliament? And is there any one specific thing that you'd like to see completed before the next elections?
Well, in terms of the next elections, I came in to deliver a number of things in the transport area. Currently working on a contract for CalMat to make sure that we've got direct award for the services there. We've got new vessels coming in. The majority of those 6 will be in for the next election. And also I've commissioned another 7 new vessels. And then on top of that, another 3. So I came in to help fix the ferry service, and that's what I'm hoping to do. The vast majority of ferry services are run extremely well, and there are a few cancellations, but that tends to be about weather, but replacing the fleet is important. We'll be starting the work on dueling the A9 this week, and so I'll be part of those activities. And in terms of other areas in rail, I'm about to procure, or Scotland on our behalf are about to procure a whole new fleet of trains in order to help us in that journey to decarbonise our footprint. So there's lots of things we've done. Under 22 free bus pass, that's helping young people do more, to sport more, to go to jobs, to help get jobs. And one of the best parts of that policy, the free bus pass for the under 22s, when I talked to young people, they said, do you know, I go and see my grandparents more and I don't have to rely on my mum and dad to take me in the car. And I think any policy that can help young people connect to their grandparents is a good one. I say as a new grandparent, although my granddaughter's very, very young indeed. She's only 9 months.
No, I would agree with you there. Family is very, very important. Now, it's fairly obvious that you will have a lot more time on your hands once you stop carrying out your ministerial role, and I presume you'll be taking a well-earned rest first. But what then? Will we be hearing more of Fiona Hislop outside of politics?
Well, I don't know if you'll be hearing more of Fiona Hislop outside politics, but certainly I'll be doing a lot. And I just want to do different things. And I think people get to stages in life where they've delivered a lot, they've committed a lot. There's time sometimes to move and let other people come in to take on roles. I've got a new granddaughter, so I'm looking forward to spending time with her. Of course, when I was first elected, I had a 3-year-old and an 18-month-old. And then I had another child along the way. Now, they've turned out to be great, fantastic individuals, but I think probably more to do with their father than myself. But they're good, independent young people. And I think there's something around, I didn't probably have as much time with them as I might have liked. And I think a lot of people who work long hours do that as well. And so I want to do more of that. I'm interested in history. I'm interested, like many people, I discovered my garden during COVID. So I'm very amateur in that regard. But there's lots of aspects to different people. I want to discover myself a bit more. I've been giving a lot with my role and my job. I have 2 jobs. I have my constituency job, and currently the Linlithgow constituency has the most number of constituents out of any in the whole of Scotland. So me and my hard-working team have to service and support them. And then on top of that, I have my ministerial role. So I'm looking forward to having a bit of me time. But I'll never stop campaigning for independence. I feel very strongly about that. That's what brought me into politics. I want to see a fairer society. I want to see Scotland stand up and hold its place in the world, not to be any better than anybody else, but just to be a normal country. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And I've seen over the time, and I've reflected on this in many years, I have met so many different governments and across the world. I've met so many different ambassadors that come and visit Scotland and different people, and the respect that Scotland is held in is very, very strong. And sometimes I think we have to recognise, sometimes you have to go away from Scotland to realise how good it is. And I think the people of Scotland, will have a bright future, and whatever happens to me, I'll be part of shaping that. But you don't need to be involved in politics with a big P to be political.
Thank you. And as you said earlier, you've still got 12 months left and you've got lots of work to do. But can you tell our listeners how they get in contact with you and what kind of issues you can help them with?
So increasingly, and it's interesting, over the time that I've been in MSP, it's been 26 years, people used to come to the office in Whitburn, or they would, and we've got to be careful now because of security reasons, so people have to do things by appointment more now because of very sad incidences that have happened in the past, or they would come physically to surgeries. But that's becoming less prevalent, and what's happening more is people will email in or they'll phone the office, and a lot of the times there are issues that maybe council issues, and we can point them in the right direction. Sometimes we can help them. But people can still contact me as an MSP and I will help them. I have to separate out my constituency role from my government role. So I'm not allowed to give special privileges in the transport area, for example, to my own constituency, much as I'd want to. I can't do that. But people, if they want to contact me in the Scottish Government for transport issues, for national issues, they can contact me through there as well. But there's lots to do. I'm looking forward to the gala season. I get to see so many different people. That's a great opportunity. There's so many different occasions. And I'm so proud of West Lothian. We are one of the most beautiful places. Driving over the hill to come to this interview, the beauty of the Bathgate Hills is fantastic. We're steeped in history, and there's a resilience to the people of West Lothian. There's a lot of can-do spirit and a lot of great individuals, but also really strong communities. So I look forward to helping support them over the next year. And I am very proud to be in West Lothian, to represent West Lothian, and I will continue to champion West Lothian.
Thank you. Now, that's been very, very helpful, and I will thank you once again for speaking with us, and we wish you all the luck in your new undertakings, whatever they may be, once you step down from your present role.
Thank you very much.
Well, listeners, that brings us to the end of this interview, and we hope you've enjoyed it, and we hope to bring you another feature soon.
Also, in our recording sessions, we have started to include, where possible, a poem or a composition written and read by one of our team, Ray. So, before we wind up our session, perhaps Ray would again give us one of his compositions, and he often has innovative ways of presenting. So, over to you, Ray.
Tonight, I have two pieces for you, one of which I will read, and the other is my words set to music again, done, unfortunately, with the benefit of AI. So first, A Journey in the Lakes. Moving among the thwaites, the dales, the meres, timeless names that say so much. The sun's rays pierce the early morning gloom as I journey to the east, revealing fingers of cloud clinging to the fells, reluctant to leave. They drift gently across the granite-strewn surface with a lover's caress. The dun of bracken gives way to shades of green, the grass and fresh new leaves of gnarled, stunted bushes eking out their survival on the windswept slopes. The sheep are small white patches in the stone-walled fields, like an imperfect painting. I gaze in wonder at this natural beauty, while feeling the spirits of those who walked here before. Wordsworth, Southey, Coleridge, they breathed this air and wrote their words, leaving their legacy for the future, for people like me to imbibe and pleasure in. As I journey to the east and the sun gets stronger, the landscape changes. The dramatic hills subside, become rounded, undulating, at peace with their surrounds. And now we have A Reckoning.
Now I've passed 70. My thoughts turn to my death, not because of foresight though. This isn't my last breath. It seems a perfect time to pause and maybe just take stock, to look and see how far I've come. I might get quite a shock. I've laughed and cried, I've loved and lost, I've seen some wondrous sights. Of course I've made mistakes as well, I've had some sleepless nights. But one thing is above all else, I've never ceased to learn. Every day another fact, some snippet I discern. On looking back, it's plain to see life's path has had its bumps. I've been knocked down, got up again. Most times I've come up trumps. And now I will look forward to the decades yet to come, marching forward, head held high, beating my own drum. Taking on the world at large with courage and respect, until the time when I must rest. My health I won't neglect. Then and only then I'll stop. And if I've made my mark, I'll be remembered. And if not, my light will just be dark.
Well, folks, we have now come to the end of this week's recording, and we hope we have enjoyed it, especially Ray's contribution. When you have finished listening to this record, can I remind you again to place the USB stick in the wallet, reverse the label so that the cutout corner is at the top right-hand side, and post it back to us as soon as possible. Remember, wallets should only be posted in a post box. Please do not post them in a post office. So, it's goodbye from the members of our team, from
Kadeen,
Nan,
Ray,
and from Jim, and from Andrew, our engineer. Bye now.
bye.
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 Bye.